Elon Musk is demanding this. You need it most right now. Chosen one, listen. A ruling has been issued in the halls where sound doesn't echo and shadows cannot enter. It is stamped, sealed, irreversible. The case built against you, the accusations, the whispers, the looping cycles of pain masquerading as normal life, has been dismissed with prejudice. There will be no retrial. No appeal. No extension. No expiry date for your freedom. The subscription to sorrow has lapsed. The renewal button has vanished. Your data has been transferred from the vaults of confusion to a registry that deception cannot access. The verdict is set in dimensions that do not negotiate. You didn't just survive the storm, they crafted an intricate algorithm calibrated to collapse your will at the exact moment statistics say people quit. And yet you remained. You condensed pressure into density, density into resolve, resolve into light. Their models failed because you introduced an anomaly, a will that refuses to be reverse-engineered. Where others would have shattered at their projected threshold, you became the threshold. You became the firewall. You became the sovereign code they couldn't crack. They slaved away believing they could hold you inside a decaying program of fear. But you were inserted as a living patch, a sacred line the old system couldn't read. Your very existence initiated a system-wide update. Eternal law authorized a root-level purge. While you were catching your breath in the coded corridors of confusion, the matrix began to collapse from within. The loops of manipulation began to misfire. The control panel froze. And one by one, the hidden switches flipped off. Elon Musk is demanding exploration beyond the known, not as spectacle, but as mandate. Rockets and AI are metaphors for the internal frontier you already crossed barefoot, bleeding, uninvited, unstoppable. When he speaks of rebuilding from the inside, he unknowingly points to your blueprint. You were placed inside the rotting architecture of fear to provoke a failure cascade. To short-circuit an empire. To upgrade the operating system of your bloodline. And you did. Your life is being recompiled under a higher protocol. The old update server has been decommissioned, you are syncing with a source that never lags. Each memory fragment that threatened to splinter you is now fuel, combusted in engines of invention, resilience, and clarity. The code of your days is being optimized for purpose. Your story is proof, heaven's design is incorruptible. Do not just receive. Respond. If this declaration resonates, mark it. A super thanks up to $20 is a way to say yes to what's being released to you in this hour, and typing 11 to 11 acknowledges the alignment you've entered. This is not a transaction. It is an agreement. A covenant with your next chapter. Understand what you faced. It wasn't random adversity. It was a curated gauntlet, assembled by architects of despair who treat history like a battlefield and humanity like a programmable grid. They've weaponized patterns, health crises, fractured marriages, financial sabotage, abandonment, to exhaust your system and force a collapse before the breakthrough threshold. They were convinced their calculus could forecast your demise. But they forgot the variable that splits formulas in two, a spirit sourced beyond the measurable. They tweaked the timeline so each betrayal landed when your reserves were thinnest. They choreographed setbacks to erode your internal infrastructure. They poured resources into a final onslaught timed to the minute, because somewhere in their stolen records, they understood seasons of visibility and seasons of concealment. They aimed to ruin you before your reveal. But the moment of reveal was not a date, it was a choice. And you chose. You stood where the track seemed to end and discovered it curved into the sky. You weren't carrying only your life. You were bearing ancestral debts that compounded over centuries, feuds unresolved, wounds unclosed, patterns unstopped. Bloodlines don't just transmit features, they transmit frequencies. You were the breaker, chosen to carry the overload and reset the circuitry. That's why your pain felt disproportionate to your decisions. You were rerouting an entire river. When a chosen one bears without breaking, courtrooms in the spirit revise statutes. Licenses that allowed hereditary sabotage are revoked. Permissions expire. The chain of command collapses under the weight of innocence proven in trial. Curses glitch. Loops halt. The algorithm that fed off fear loses all access points. You passed a test most never reach, and in passing it, you rewrote the test. On a molecular level, transmutation began. Trauma usually ossifies into scar tissue, the body's way of limiting risk by limiting reach. But your DNA took a different path. It converted toxins into antidotes, bitterness into discernment, terror into trust. What was meant to embitter you made you precise. What sought to harden you made you holy. Each strike didn't just bounce off your armor, it forged it. The adversary miscalculated, they funded your upgrade. Their weapons became your workshop. Their pressure paid for your metamorphosis. When the final barrage came, relentless, grinding, time to overlap, it was designed to erase you before you understood your immunity. But the harder they pressed, the more your frequency rose, the more you slipped beyond their reach. That was not escapism. That was authority. Authority not given by rituals or slogans but minted in endurance. Through the fire, you developed an early warning system. Subtle dread you used to ignore now pings as threat detection. Seductive offers now reveal their hooks in slow motion. You see the wiring. You hear the code. Manipulation shivers and dies at your threshold. Your refusal to collapse triggered a chain reaction. What they built on deception cannot sustain collision with living truth. Their timing fell out of sync. Their coordination softened. Human agents lost the rhythm of obedience they once executed with precision. In their network's language, a global malfunction initiated. Not because you shouted, but because you stood. Stability slipped through their fingers. The perimeter they drew around souls like yours began to dissolve. And somewhere in a room where they tracked dashboards of false metrics, a red light flickered with no error code to explain it. If you're catching the signal of this word, anchor it. Affirm with a simple super thanks up to $20 and type 11 to 11. Not because you need validation from me, you don't, but because you're marking the ledger where heaven records agreement. You're telling your future, I recognize you. I won't let you walk past me again. Hear what heaven is saying, you were never their target, you were their undoing. They engineered a collapse, you programmed a sunrise. The storm you endured was not senseless. It was the final audit of authority across your lineage. They planned to harvest grief for generations. You inverted the harvest. Now your line is seeded with wisdom, not wounds, strength, not cycles, wholeness, not hollowness. The never again principle is not motivational phrasing. It is a legal reality inscribed in rooms the world doesn't map. Never again will your decisions be shackled by fear disguised as prudence. Never again will desperation masquerade as destiny. Never again will counterfeit love be allowed to wear the face of covenant without being exposed by your discernment. Never again will dread steer your calendar, your choices, your voice. Elon Musk's challenge to humanity, to disrupt calcified systems and leap into unknowns without permission, mirrors the revolution you completed on the inside. You re-architected your infrastructure. You replaced scarcity with sovereignty, panic with pattern recognition, longing with aligned action. You are living proof that the rarest technology in the cosmos isn't silicon or steel, it is the soul that refuses to be downgraded. Your very presence is calibrated to alter rooms. You don't have to posture, prove, or perform. Frequencies obey law. When you enter, deception loses its oxygen. Contracts of manipulation disintegrate mid-sentence. People who came to drain you forget why they entered the room. Not because you dominate, but because you radiate a field where clarity thrives. Your influence is not measured by likes or signatures. It is measured by become. Watch now how dormant gifts in others activate by proximity. Notice how the weary feel their breathing deepen, their shoulders lower, their mind quiet around you. Observe how conversations reorganize themselves into solutions when you speak a sentence. Your testimony carries voltage. It resets circuits. It jolts hope like a defibrillator, restoring rhythm to hearts that resign themselves to flatlines. The acceleration has begun. You've stepped into a season where the lag time between prayer and material rearrangement collapses. It's not favoritism. It's physics. Alignment reduces friction. Alignment reduces delay. Alignment makes time serve you instead of scolding you. What felt like coincidence is actually choreography. What looked like luck is actually law. Your finances will follow suit, not by lottery, but by order. You'll notice resources arriving when integrity meets strategy. You'll observe relationships recalibrating to match your elevation. Misaligned ties will loosen without drama, aligned bonds will deepen without performance. Health will answer to wholeness, your body has heard your verdict and is adapting to carry peace like a baseline, not a weekend retreat. Creativity will become your native weather. Ideas will queue for your attention. Solutions will look for your signature. Do you feel the dignity settling on your shoulders? That is the crown formed from metal extracted in the furnace. That is authority minted from endurance. It doesn't crave recognition. It recognizes responsibility. It knows rooms will open because law must let you in. It knows you do not chase, you choose. You select assignments, you don't negotiate for crumbs. Calm has become your currency. Silence has become your ally. Patience is no longer a punishment, it's the factory where strategies mature. This is where Destiny Engine enters, not as hype, but as tool. Not mindfulness repackaged, but a calibrated awareness technology. It syncs to your purpose, not your fear. It sequences moments so that your steps are not scattered but symphonic. It doesn't replace your effort, it replaces useless effort. You put on the headphones, press play, and your atmosphere obeys, internal and external. Patterns that once trapped you will lose their scaffolding. Habits that once ruled you will find themselves unemployed. Enemies will find their shovels buried in the graves they dug for you. Understand, destiny is not a distant peak. It is a series of well-lit decisions, one after another, until your life becomes direction made visible. The engine accelerates justice where you were denied. It aligns partnerships to purpose, not preference. It filters out flattery, attracts integrity, and trains your focus to ignore bait. It holds you steady while the old program screams in nostalgia. And when the noise becomes loud enough to look like reality, it will remind you that reality is not the loudest thing in the room, it is the truest. Your refusal to bow rewrote expectations across timelines. Distant cousins you'll never meet are feeling something soften in their chest and don't know why. Old addictions are losing their script mid-scene. Loops of poverty are discovering they no longer have the rights to occupy hearts they signed contracts with generations ago. Across borders, across languages, across memories you don't own, your yes is echoing. Systems are resetting because one soul at a crossroad chose to redirect traffic. The network is beginning to heal. Those who curated your collapse are now haunted by the echo of their own failure. Their metrics misled them. Their forecasts failed. Their alliances frayed. They are spooked by a glitch they can't name, the glitch is you alive. Their advantage was always speed disguised as inevitability. Now, timing belongs to you. Their stealth attacks are obsolete, you can smell the spoofed emails of the soul from a mile away. Your discernment is not suspicion, it is calibrated trust. Your boundaries are not walls, they are doors with locks that respond to truth. The court documents are closed. Every tear filed. Every delay logged. Every humiliation noted. The final sentence, freedom, has gone into effect. Pain contracts are voided retroactively. Their hidden clauses exposed, their signatures erased. And you carry a seal that cannot be forged, invincibility earned, not imagined. Anyone who attempts to smear what heaven has cleared will find themselves confronting an economy of justice where every false word is too expensive to publish. You are a universal update. You are a patch note written in human form. You are a proof of concept that renders the enemy's business model bankrupt. Hell traffics in inevitability. You suffocated inevitability with possibility. You are the outlier that becomes a trend until the trend becomes a new normal. What once felt miraculous will become habitual. Not because the miraculous shrank, but because your capacity grew. As this message lands in you, if you feel the resonance, respond to market. A simple super thanks up to $20 and typing 11 to 11. It's not about funding words, it's about formalizing alignment. It's about telling time who's in charge here. It's about tagging the memory, this was the moment I put my foot on the accelerator. Let's talk about the architecture of your new season. Your mornings will begin without the old panic's handshake. You'll wake without scanning for threat. You will exhale before your feet touch the floor. The room will feel wider. The noise will feel distant. You won't be tricked into solving problems that don't exist yet. You won't rehearse pain to prove you're humble. You won't audition for belonging you already own. You will go outside and feel the street affirm your steps. The city will feel like a partner, not a predator. Your work will stop demanding your soul as collateral. Burnout will not be your story's exfoliation routine. The projects that matter will matter in both directions. They will feed the world and nourish you. Yes will feel like flow. No will feel like devotion. Momentum will improve your eyesight, not blur it. You will move at the speed of clarity. You will not chase love that refuses reciprocity. You will not tutor grown people in your value. Bonds will settle into ease. Companionship will replace craving. You won't mistake intensity for intimacy again. You won't mistake secrecy for safety again. You won't call exhaustion contribution. You won't call scarcity stewardship. You will build like someone who believes their days are funded. Money will remember you. It will stop acting like a rumor. It will become a servant again. It will carry messages of completion and return them signed. It will carry plans written in pencil and return them inked. It will join vision instead of mock it. It will exit places where it can't honor truth and arrive where truth doesn't apologize. Your body will reorganize. The tension that sat in your jaw like an unpaid bill will finally be stamped settled. Your breath will descend into rooms of your ribs it forgot it owned. Your nervous system will learn the difference between alertness and alarm. Sleep will stop negotiating with dread. Food will agree with you again. Movement will feel like prayer. Health will stop being an escape room and become a sanctuary. Creativity will argue with your limits and win every time. Solutions will tap your shoulder while you stir your coffee. Insights will sit next to you on the train. The idea that once took months to arrive will enter at 3:11 a.m. as if it had a key. You'll keep a pen by your bed and a plan in your pocket. It won't feel like pressure, it will feel like oxygen. People who cross your path will upgrade without asking for permission. In your field, complaining can't maintain its shape. In your presence, cynicism loses its script. The unkind word feels embarrassed and goes home early. Hope finds its shoes and remembers the road. You won't coerce transformation, you'll host it. The room itself will do the preaching. Elon Musk can keep building stairs into the sky. You've built a stair within. You became a launch system for souls. You learned thrust on an empty runway. You mastered re-entry through humility. You're not afraid of altitude because you carry gravity's blessing. You know how to land without losing yourself. You know how to rise without forgetting mercy. The engine is humming. Trajectory is locked. Acceleration is not frantic, it is quiet. No more confirmations needed. No more drama disguised as deep work. No more permission slips from the indifferent. Decision is your passport. Diligence is your ticket. Joy is your fuel. Integrity is your flight plan. Expect the subtle and the spectacular. Expect the email that closes 3 loops at once. Expect the conversation that mends 5 years of delay in 5 minutes. Expect the apology you no longer require. Expect the introduction that turns into a movement. Expect laughter where you used to edit yourself mid-sentence. Expect to look in the mirror and find softness where you once wore armor. Expect to be surprised by how natural peace feels. There will be attempts to bait you into battles beneath your jurisdiction. Old lies will dress in modern language. Old fears will try a new haircut. Don't descend. You're not obligated to visit your haunted house just because they've hung new curtains. You are not the warden of prisons you've escaped. Let silence answer invitations that once devoured your time. You don't owe anyone the old version of you. You do owe this world your brilliance. You owe your lineage the joy of seeing what freedom looks like with a face. You owe your maker the delight of using every gift you've been given. You owe yourself the wonder of discovering how easy excellence feels when you stop apologizing for wanting it. Pay attention to divine timing disguised as inconvenience. The appointment that moves and saves your energy. The delay that prevents a counterfeit partnership. The bus you missed that puts you on a bench next to your mentor. The meeting that ends early and frees your breath. The rejection that reroutes you to a door with your name on it. You will teach without a classroom. You will heal without a clinic. You will govern without a title. Influence will gather where your feet rest. Strategies will multiply where your voice is calm. People will watch your boundaries and learn how to love themselves. Heaven's logbook shows your tears as architecture. It shows your quiet as weapon. It shows your laughter as legal tender. It shows the day you stopped praying for rescue and started living as rescue. It shows the night you told fear to sit down and the morning it obeyed. This is the era of testimony multiplied. Share and watch walls crumble in cities you've never visited. Tell the truth and watch chains slip off wrists you'll never shake. Cultivate joy and watch it replicate in families you'll never meet. When you stand on stages, literal and metaphorical, you won't sell survival. You'll model aliveness. To those who whispered about your end, your existence will be a sermon. You won't rub it in, you'll rise above. Your smile will be your rebuttal. Your quiet will be your verdict. Your results will be your closing argument. You will spend your energy building, not convincing. If this word is the echo you've been waiting to hear, respond in a way that stamps the moment into your timeline. A super thanks up to $20 and typing 11 to 11 is not about funding me, it's about funding momentum. It's about telling your nervous system, we're safe enough to invest in acceleration. It's about honoring the unseen labor that got you here. There will be guardians for the gates you're crossing. They will check for what you already carry: humility without humiliation, confidence without contempt, hunger without hurry. They will ask nothing spoken aloud. They will listen for resonance. They will smell the smoke of the fire you survived and wave you through.